Okay, in today's demonstration, there's going to be a couple of ideas, I think 4 of them. Last week, my demo of integrating printed material into new work, I thought was a little persnickety. I'm always looking for, I guess, the path of least resistance and trying to get a successful lesson. So I think all of the ideas today could be that. So I had this cube of wood. If you don't have a cube like that, you could probably get a cardboard box or something. And I just cut out that adhesive foam, different shapes, kind of random on all the sides. So I've got a 6-sided stamp, and then I drew into it with a pen, and then I inked it up. And this is this beautiful paper that Teresa, when she went to India, said, bring me some paper. And so she brought me this book, and I took it apart and used this as my to stamp on. And I'm thinking I can use this to wrap holiday gifts. I think that would be pretty nifty to get something in a package like that. Or I can have this stash of collage paper to use for future projects. So I'm just going to show you all the different things I did. And I used 2 different colors, a yellow ochre and a Prussian blue. And I might add some more things to this or not. So these are all the different patterns that I got. And this is a fun thing to do. Again, if you're not in the mood to invest in something that's more involved, this is very relaxing just to stamp different patterns. And as I went along, I felt more warmed up. And so I was just stamping repeatedly. And I like that. Here's another one that I could do more work on here if I wanted to. It could be the background for something. So I've got all of these papers that I can use for future projects. Okay. Then let's see. So a number of ideas here. One is, and it could be on, this is canvas paper. It could be on Bristol, something thicker. I just got my large wash brush and dipped it in fluid black ink and just focused on making like a quick gestural mark, quick movement. Okay, so I'll be working on these in a little bit. So that's one idea as a background structure to build more collage material on. Okay, and the next one, I'm going to use the brayer technique. And you can use any color you want. I'm just trying to use up this Van Dyke brown. And then I just go kind of quick gestural marks. And this is going to be a background structure to collage more material on. And I already have a bunch of these waiting in the wings to collage more on here and here. Okay, and then the last one sort of ties in a little bit with the Jane Davies video, quick studies. So, and I'm showing you these, like, let's say you don't have a brayer or a large brush, you could use a credit card, or this is the silicone catalyst by the brand Catalyst, little wedge tool. Again, I can great paint on as my background. I'm going to add another color. To this one. So you can think of these as quick studies, but then quite often they turn into something frameable. Okay. All right, so now I've got my, here's another one I did, but I like this one. I'm gonna let this dry a little bit and work on these other ones. So then you want to go through, this is where organization becomes key. These are just leftover, you know, when I'm working, the paint goes on the surface like on here. So I'm going to save this and I'll cut it up and use it as collage material. And then from this, I can just cut out pieces that I think are interesting. And I usually rotate them and just kind of play around with them until something, either they sort of line up and drop into place or they don't. It's good to try a lot of different ones because sometimes it might be something that you wouldn't have expected. Like there's something about that. It looks like some sort of a building in, is there a twister going on? Okay. This feels like a bird wing over here to me. Okay, now normally I would probably use Mod Podge to glue these down, but since I'm on the clock here, I am going to use my glue stick if I can find it. Having one of those days. Where did I put it down? Maybe that's just not even happening. Maybe you're just going to see my arrangement unless I can find my glue stick. Lately, I've been into putting little bits and pieces of metallic paper. And then this is wrapping paper from a box of See's candy. And I thought, what a great black and white pattern. Okay, so then you can bring in a little bit of pencil work if you want. I can add more paint. Like this, maybe I would, would have preferred a wash on here. So if I'm going to go canvas, I could put a wash and then come over with my big brush mark. But I'm not going to do that right now. And if you get into really, really tiny pieces, that's where owning a pair of tweezers is good to move your tiny pieces around. And then I tend to have a little bin of, as you're cutting shapes out, there'll be these little scraps that are kind of interesting, and I save those. So again, having a little box is useful. Okay, so I'm not sure. I want some pop of color in here somewhere. I kept thinking red. Not finding any. Okay, along with the candy wrapper theme, I saved these to make a great fan shape. This feels a little bit like a fan. So this might come in here somewhere. I don't like it there. This is a great exercise for practicing, playing with composition. I went through all of my old artwork and chopped up parts of pieces that I thought, oh, these are interesting. I don't really want to save the artwork, but there's interesting parts in there that I could combine into new work. I'm not sure about that. Okay, so I think you get the basic idea. And then just one more thing. If you don't have sheets of rice paper to do the stamping on, you can go, I think it's at like the post office, like a roll of this craft paper. You could roll this out and stamp on it, and it makes great wrapping paper or stamped collage paper.